Can you? Please? She really wants to hear it.
Itsy bitsy spider, clap the water's bell.
3-year-old J.C. Delamore looks and acts just like any other boy his age.
Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider clapped the water's bell.
By looking at him, it's hard to tell he's been diagnosed with leukemia.
He's been through way more, in the first 3 years than I've been through in my 43, so.
He is such a joy, and his laugh is contagious. And he's so sociable, always has been from the get-go. But it was really hard for me to picture my life without him.
Very caring little boy. He likes to share with things, and then when he sees people that are sad, he is sad and he wants to know why they're sad and what he can do to maybe try to help them out and make them happy again.
JC was only 2.5 when he was first diagnosed. At the time, neither of his parents realized just how sick he really was.
He had been struggling with what we thought was a cold, and he had on and off fever, but it wasn't consistent.
When they took him to the doctor, they were told it was probably a virus and to take him home and ride it out. Over the next 48 hours, things got a lot worse.
He wasn't sleeping at all, and I couldn't console him, and he couldn't get comfortable, and he just cried, and he wasn't eating or drinking. Wasn't my kid, and I just knew something was wrong.
So Angie took JC back to the doctor. This time, the doctor decided to do a blood test.
I mean, his labs were just all out of whack, and they were so out of whack that the doctor said, "Angie, I just don't believe these, because these lab results, don't match what your child looks like. And if these lab results are right, something's really wrong." And so at that point, I have a panic in my heart, and she said, "I'm going to rerun them because I really do think something is wrong with our equipment." And so she reran them, and they essentially came back the same. During the second time when they reran the results, I just knew that it wasn't going to be good news. And I called Scott and I said, "I think you need to come."
Shortly after he arrived, the doctor took them both back into her office and gave them the news every parent fears.
And she said, "It's leaning towards leukemia." And so at that point, it was a whirlwind. It was just kind of very surreal now looking back on it.
We were just in shock at the diagnosis, really in disbelief. When we first heard the word leukemia, we thought that was basically, or at least I did, that it was pretty much a death sentence.
That diagnosis was made just before Christmas of 2006.
Hadn't done any Christmas shopping. And I went to the mall and nearly had a panic attack. I don't know what I'm looking for. I didn't know if he'd be here next Christmas, and I had mixed emotions. I wanted to buy everything, and I didn't want to buy anything. I didn't want to think about anything but that day, heart thinking that far in advance. Will he be here or will he not? It was just too overwhelming for me.
I can't imagine, because that's really a mother's worst nightmare, is for your child to be diagnosed with something that serious. What was going through your mind? Were you worried that he wasn't going to survive?
Well, the initial thing is you don't know what tomorrow is. We had in our minds, plans. And when you get the diagnosis of leukemia and your child's 2.5, you redefine your life by the second, by the minute, by the hour, by the day. You don't look too far ahead, because, at that particular moment, I didn't know what tomorrow would bring.
Is there still a fear that he
Oh,
may
of course. Of course there is.
What has been the toughest part of going through this for you?
Well, I think for anybody, the fear of the unknown is hard.
I try to get it and they roll up really fast.
Ooh.
Try to get it. Try to get it.
What's been the toughest part of this for you?
Just probably not knowing if he indeed is going to be cured of this, because we go to the doctor quite frequently. We go there at least once a month for a checkup, and you just have in the back of your mind, at least me, I'm just wondering if he's going to say, well, hang on here a minute, something's not quite right. There's a lot of things that sink about it, and you think a child shouldn't have to go through that, but you just basically do what you have to do to get him better.
What they have to do to get him better is pretty complicated. They even have a checklist to follow.
These schedules for medications and treatments and all of it is just overwhelming, and even being a nurse, I struggled with it and we made mistakes.
Probably some of the toughest things that are with JC are on his medicines are the ones that we have to give him at midnight. Having to wake your child up at midnight to give him 6 pills, and sometimes it goes real smooth. Other times when he doesn't want to take it, it is very, very stressful.
Daddy,
Okay.
we need that one.
Well, that one too?
Yeah.
There is such a schedule of the maintenance on the medicines and whatnot, especially when one of us forgets to do something, because it does create a lot of stress. But it also brings the family closer together, I think, as well, because you don't take things, and we didn't take it for granted in the beginning, but when something like this happens, it really pulls you together, I think, even stronger.
It's not just the medicines they have to worry about. JC is still undergoing chemotherapy, has to be taken to monthly doctor appointments, and has to undergo frequent spinal taps to check for leukemia cells in his spinal fluid.
It's one of those crappy things, but if you don't do it, things could be a lot worse. So it's just, like I said earlier, it's just one of those things that you don't like it, but you just have to do it.
Your shirt off.
Hey, you ever seen engine turtles?
Because JC has to give blood so frequently, doctors implanted this Hickman catheter in his chest.
Don't do it under.
This is something his parents have to clean every day to make sure it doesn't get infected.
It hurts. Good. I don't want you to put the colors on the gut.
All parents want their children to be happy and healthy, and the Delamores are doing everything they can to make sure JC gets that chance.
And the last thing you want is for something to be wrong with your child.
Yeah.
So how did it hit you when you found out, oh my gosh, this is serious?
When I can remember just laying with JC in the hospital and just wishing it could be me and not him.
That's a feeling Scott shares as well.
Wish if there's anything I could do, I'd much rather have the things happening to me than to your son, because I think as a parent, you want things not necessarily always perfect, but in my mind, you want them better than they were when you were a child.
No matter how awful a situation is, and not that I'm downplaying the severity of this at all, but no matter how bad a situation is, there's always something good that comes out of it too. What good has come out of this?
We were so wrapped up in day-to-day, and this really helped me especially realize that family and friends are very important, and you can't put those relationships on the back burner, and you just don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Being around JC is like being in the presence of a real-life angel. He's one of the most positive, upbeat, happy, and inspirational kids on the planet. After talking to his parents, you can see where he gets that upbeat attitude. They're extremely positive as well.
Even feeling sorry for yourself is not going to help one bit at all. So stay positive and, do what the doctors tell you, and just do what you think's right to make things better.
Right now, JC is in remission, but will continue treatment until he's 5 years old.
80% of the kids with what he has are cured after 5 years. 40, 50 years ago, JC would have had 3 weeks to live.
Both Scott and Angie say organizations like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society help them get through it all.
And just knowing that you're not alone was just a huge relief. Just a huge relief.
The money that goes towards research has given my son life.
Right here's my favorite spot, right there. Right there it is. Right there.
For me to picture my life without him.
I love you.